Okay, Sue Schroeder's with us. Home is the short film. It's 30-minute dance film. 30-minute dance film. I've seen a lot of dance films, and that's pretty impressive, to say the least, that you were able to convey a story through dance for 30 minutes and you did something right. And I'm looking at your festival screening list, and it's played at a ton of festivals. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. We're really pleased and also super surprised at its success. Yeah.
You're based in Georgia, in
Yeah,
Atlanta?
I live in Georgia. We're talking from Atlanta, and Adam Larsen, who co-directed with me, is from Asheville, North Carolina.
So tell me about your experience making dance films before this film.
I'm trying to think. I've done when I was quite young, starting out, and I did a 16 millimeter film in black and white in a tree outside. I was attended the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts in Houston, which was the second visual arts high school in the country, and did that back so long ago. And then fast forward, I started working on using it in installation, film work and installation for live performance. And that's how I also met Adam. He came in as a designer, not as a filmmaker, but as to design the installation. That's a second sort of hand in hand career he has.
Mhm.
And so when we met, then we started on a journey, and we've made a half dozen films together now. And then most recently, my most recent film, is this correct? Yeah, I think so, is with a filmmaker out of Lisbon, Portugal. So it's my roster of films is building, and I don't know that I understand why as much as yeah, I think online offerings got popular during COVID, and so there's a real desire for them, and it's an interesting way to work.
So, okay, so tell me about this idea. Because you said that you have the written credit. So, did you write down kind of your story beats? Like, how do you write? I'm just curious how you write a screenplay for a dance film.
Well, it's interesting. Adam and I on this project did it was tough, but we did everything together
Okay.
in terms of all of the pre-research. We both have a real love for nature and beauty from that point of view. We're both very much advocates for nature. And so we started just with, we wanted a container for it. And we knew, I think even early, that we were going to work in chapters. So we created lists of architectural elements, body elements, and what's the third one? Earth, kinds
Okay.
of nature things. So it might be, I think there was like the torso of the body, the trunk of the tree, the what's it called when you hold up a house, whatever that is. And we would just had we had an Excel spreadsheet that would probably make your head spin of words. And then we developed movement ideas for them as well. And then we just that helped us frame the shoot schedule and how we were going to shoot things.
Okay. And then, did you have the locations in mind while you were kind of, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because originally we were going to make this film prior to COVID, and we were all set to begin filming in May, and COVID kicked off in March. And it was a little bit different film. One of the ending of shot of the big ruin that you pan up, the drone pans up. We were going to make a film specifically just for that space because it was such a gorgeous space. We were working in France, which is where that's located. And we knew we couldn't bring a public there because it's a ruin and it doesn't really have the capacity for public engagement with the space. So we figured, oh, let's make a film relative to and
Gotcha.
story around this space. And then COVID happened. So then a couple of years later, we go to shoot, and all the circumstances had changed around who could be involved, how it would work. Actually, we lost the use of that space. So then I was working, and I work often in that area of France. I went on a site search, sending Adam back images and video, and then at the very last, that site became available to us again. So we had all these sites to work within around our concept by the second film. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then in terms of like the dialogue, because there's like there's the character speaking. Where did you write? Did you guys write the dialogue?
Yeah, well, what we did is while we were building spreadsheets, we created 3 prompts that we call them prompts and sent them to the artist, the composer, and Adam and I also did them. Um, and they could write. They were to write things to about each of the prompts. I think each, or they at least had to do 2. I think, and then send it to us so we could start to. We knew we wanted them it to be personal, and for a public, even though as a mover I think dance is super intimate and personal, words speak volumes to the general public. They can really connect with language. So from those writings, that's what the prompts,
Okay.
that's what they're speaking to. So then what we did on set was I had them all I had each of theirs printed out, and they speak their own. They don't speak anybody else's, and they don't speak ours. So ours aren't in there, nor is the composers. But they would, I let them read it, think about it, and then just speak what they could recall from what they read. So it wasn't memorized. And that to me gave it a real natural quality of them reminiscing or remembering and or telling a story, as opposed to having memorized it.
Yeah, well, their personal stories too. So it's coming from their own like they're
Yeah,
not. It's not coming from like someone's imagination. It's coming from their own experiences, right? So the emotions is evoking in their voices while they're telling the story.
yeah,
I assumed that. I just want to. Maybe I could have been surprised that I thought maybe you wrote the script. I didn't know, but like the story of the guy's how he got a scar. That was pretty. That was pretty like and his dad having blood, and then like yeah, that was fantastic. It was such a fantastic story,
yeah,
in so many ways, right? Because it just defined like with his brothers and like something that's always there, right? For forever, right? So
yeah.
it's
Now,
fantastic.
what we hadn't really thought about, I think, I don't recall. We had them tell the story uh, in. Let me think about this. They they were to speak it in their own language, because there were seven different languages on set, which we kind of didn't know what that was till we
Yeah,
walked into it. And there was definitely lost in translation moments. Everybody had access to English, but not fully. So we did a little bit of, we got some confusion going here and there. But then it was figuring out the translations, figuring out. So we recorded it on a scene of someone speaking. We edited. So we didn't necessarily use every single line. So there was a little bit of editing done there, but then it was transcribing, and we have the film now with English subtitles, French subtitles, and Spanish subtitles.
gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
because I guess it's going different places, right?
Yeah, we premiered it in French because we premiered it in France, and that was important because that was our first film site. We just wanted to bring it back there, and the community was super involved, knowing we were all there shooting and stuff. So we wanted to bring it back. And then the request came from South America. Could we get it in Spanish? And so we did, and now we've used it in Spanish in a couple of other places.
Because it's played in Spain and it's played in Brazil.
It's played in Brazil, it's played in Argentina, it's played in Colombia. I've had a real thing about making sure that each performer had it played in their own country. So it's played in Poland. It hasn't played Israel. We have the opportunity, but with the war,
Yeah.
we're waiting. It was it was to screen in Asheville this week, but now we're in a snowstorm coming.
Oh,
So
really?
we're going to screen it now on March 6th in Asheville. So then I think the only remaining will be Berlin for the composer, and Tel Aviv or Jerusalem for Israel.
But I know that they're still doing Israel. They're still doing a few festivals there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So there should be an opportunity to do it, to show it there, right? So
yeah. Uh-huh.
they like their film.
Yeah.
So then where did you find the performers then? So how many?
These were all performers that I had worked with before,
Okay.
and I have a thing, I don't know. I sense that people can work together. And the beauty of my relationship with Adam is that he trusts me on those things. I sent him photos of the so he could see their looks.
Okay.
We discussed gender, how much gender, we definitely wanted multiple genders. And yeah, then we just went for it after that.
So it's funny because I'm seeing the list of the performers' names, and it's like when you're like it's like a test where like you're matching because you said that they're all from different countries, and it's like match the last name with the country that they're
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah,
from, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I
So
got some, I got most of them. Well, assumingly, right? So
yeah,
yeah, the the Israel and the Poland is easy, and then it gets a little bit difficult after that. So.
yeah.
So then yeah, like what you notice first of all is that is it's fantastic dancers and just the scenery, like just the location is just amazing. But of course, you need to shoot it properly, and it needs to be like it's very subtly shot. And I'm just curious about your process of like your shooting style and kind of getting the aesthetic of the nature.
Well, we did. We arrived. Adam and I arrived to France ahead of everybody else, and went and earmarked all. We had lots of choices location wise. We even at a site,
Yeah.
so we kind of set those in motion and got them lined up with what work was going to happen there. And then at the same time, we're doing some test shots to. And what he and I also did prior to that is we premiered a short film. I think it's like 9 minutes
Okay.
for a solo performer outside. We had our drone. This was the first time we had a drone to work with. We used the drone for that shoot to kind of for our conversation, our dialogue to develop around shots and looks and framing and that kind of thing. And I have to say, again, having worked with several filmmakers, he's really generous to let me be on his shoulder. So I'm looking through, the screen where I can see what he's doing. I would never stop in mid shot, but we would talk about it after. We did not have time to run dailies, to look at stuff because our schedule was super tight and long days and nature and outside. And we better go because the weather or the light. So we really didn't get the time to review the footage till after. So that anyway, that we would do it, try to figure that out in the future. That's one of our notes. But we did that really together, and then there were a couple of places. There's a shot where the drone actually is going through windy trees. And it was a site with lots of the opening ruin is there. So that we were flying the drone there, and we worked that together. Where it would go, or try to have it go.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the road shot. We definitely looked at how that was gonna look and work, and where we're performers. At the very end, we were shooting outside of Krakow, and we were walking back to our hotel, and I just said in passing, "Is there anything missing or whatever?" And I think we had one day left to shoot. And he said, "Well, there were always regret shots." And I'm like, "Really? What's a regret shot?" And he goes, "Well, it's the stuff he didn't get." And I'm like, "Well, what didn't we get?" He goes, "I don't think we have enough shots of just pure nature."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Well, there's tomorrow. Where are we going?" So we found a in the city-ish, almost like botanical gardens-ish, but more rustic than that, a forest. And we went and shot in the forest. We already had the last near the end, the quarry shot, the three performers on the edge of the quarry. That was already planned. So that, but he wanted nature with nothing in it. So all the upward trees and the clouds, we got all of it because I just wasn't going to stand for a regret if we could avoid it. So anyway, that's how we worked.
So then, yeah, and then there's an indoor shot too, right? Inside the house.
Yeah, that's outside of Krakow. That's a ruin of a manor that following this shoot, had a 2-week project there, a different project.
Yeah.
and we all had to be there anyway. And so it was like, let's do this. And it kind of gave it, we didn't really know the story, the relationship. We shot all of the interviews in both locations. So the parts where they talk, we shot them at the ruin. We shot them in Poland, and we also shot them in France. So we had options of where to use them or what to use, but I don't know that we knew until the editing stage how it was all how those
Yeah,
things were going to make
you were kind of
sense.
building the story and editing.
Yeah, we had all the resources, all the footage, the ideas for chapters. We didn't we did I think we named the chapters at the very close to the end of editing,
Mhm.
um, because we could see.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you say it was Krakow? That's what the city was called, Krakow?
Uh-huh.
It's an interesting name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where's
K R
that?
A K R A K O W.
Where is that?
Poland.
It's in Poland. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the translation?
I don't know what Krakow translates. I should probably know that. But it's a beautiful city. It was a city that Hitler did not bomb because he was planning on moving his headquarters there. So it's super pristine and very well cared for and beautiful. If you and it's in Central Europe, what some people call it Eastern Europe. So it's very inexpensive place to go and yeah, have an experience or visit.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's interesting that he didn't want to bomb there.
right.
Yeah.
Because he wanted it for himself.
Well, yeah, it's interesting that he wanted to bomb a country that he wanted to live in.
Yeah. Well, he did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He did.
Anyways, that's a whole other it's a whole other
Exactly.
film.
The whole other chapter.
Yeah, exactly. The chapter. But it's fantastic. Like these performers are amazing. Talk to me about their costumes and their costume design. Who did that?
Well, it's interesting because yeah, well, it's a lot of different bodies. I was collecting them from all over uh the place, the world. And we knew we wanted the costuming to feel natural. I also wanted them, knowing dance, I wanted them to be able to feel comfortable
Yeah.
moving. And I have to really do a shout out for these performers. It's not easy to work outside like this. And
No.
some of the things they were asked to do in
I'm
environments to
assuming it was
heat.
hot in some days.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hot because it was May. There were
Okay.
some days that we were warmer, but you're talking bugs and dirt and water. And first day was raining. The last shot we're all looking forward, that was the first day actually we shot, and it had been raining, so everything was wet. It's and then you've got slippery. I mean, it's just there's things that you have to deal with that are different than in a theater, and they all. I don't know that anybody ever complained, which was fabulous for us. They really wanted to make it work, whatever we wanted. So I'm always keen, always for them to be comfortable with what they're dressed in. But in this instance, definitely I didn't want the costuming to be a problem. So what we did, they arrived, I think, on a Saturday evening. We had a dinner together so that everybody could meet each other, or maybe it was, I don't know, it was right at the very beginning. And I brought a huge suitcase of costume ideas, and laid them all out on the lawn at these friends of ours' house. And I also asked them to bring earth tones. So I had packed earth tones, they had packed earth tones, and they got to pick what they wanted to wear just so it fit into all that. They liked it. It was easy to move in, and it fell into earth tones.
Well, like so you're part of are you like I don't know if are you owner or you're the artistic director of core dance?
I'm the artistic director of Core Dance. It's a nonprofit. So in the nonprofit world, you don't own it,
Okay.
but I founded it, and I've been the founding director.
You've
This
done the
is year
founding. So why not?
45 years.
Just curious, why nonprofit?
It's the way the arts in the US pretty much work. It's a nonprofit arena because there's not really a market for the work we do.
Okay.
Like all symphonies are nonprofits, all ballet companies are nonprofits in the US, all museums are nonprofits in the US. and it's I think back to our founding fathers and all of that. Arts nonprofits are based on social service, like medical and hospitals are nonprofits.
Yeah.
Is these things that are for the public good was the original intent, that for the public good we need these things. Therefore, funding should come from the public good, whether it's government, foundations, corporations. Um, in internationally, the governments take a big portion of the lifting of funding the arts. In the U.S., not so much. So
Yeah.
we do a lot of scurrying around to put the money together.
But at the same time, there's you like because I know there's a lot of dance companies that have classes. They
Yeah, we
studio
do
rentals.
all of that to make ends meet. I often uh, I think people may think that Broadway's nonprofit and they charge like 100 and I mean they exist on their ticket sales.
Sure.
And so they get us mixed up that they think our ticket sales really cover. And generally, nonprofits will charge a $20 or maybe a $30 ticket, but not a $150 ticket. That doesn't happen, not even at a ballet.
They,
So,
yeah, maybe in Toronto it's different because the ballet tickets are pretty high.
yeah, they're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, and,
So, yeah,
and opera.
it's a different model. Yeah.
Yeah, different. But I love the idea of like so the people can take classes. I saw like on your site there's like is it mostly adult classes that people take or
We have and for core dance, the way we've organized it originally, because the company was touring all the time and
yeah,
we weren't at home. So we made our studio company class, an open company class, which was professional level in the mornings for whoever wanted to, would join in was fine. We were so glad to have other people in our classes. But then the rest of the time, our studio is community based. So we make it what we call artist friendly rates to support lots of classes and lots of participation. So within that swirl, we have children's classes and all different kinds of offerings. I've never run it as there is a business model for dance
yeah,
studios, but we don't really do that because we were traveling so much. And
gotcha.
now I'm kind of past doing that. So
That's the
we're
point of no
starting
return.
now to host the space, host artists who are um, of like mind, contemporary dance makers, contemporary filmmakers, contemporary visual artists in residencies to have studio space and support to do their work.
But they're like good and bad. There must be a different mindset when you're putting on a show that's capitalistically minded, meaning that you have to make a profit from the show, and then or doing a show where like I want to express. I'm going to create some ideas. Like even your film, it's 30-minute dance film. I brought up in the beginning. It's like that's pretty ambitious. And from we're at the porch that I sit on, there it doesn't really work most like 99% of the time. A
Right.
dance film this that long, but yours does
Thank
to
you.
amazing effect because you're just able to go out and do it, right? So if that
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
that's a good point. That's one reason to go nonprofit. But on the front end, you've got to put the funding together in place
Of
to
course.
pay for everything.
Yeah.
And that took us some years to do that. That people are really happy with this film. And again, I've had a couple of three more short works since then. And one was commissioned by a museum, so that made that possible. The other two were us as artists. I'm in both of the other two, and the filmmaker wanted to do it so bad, we just did it, and on both of them, and and again that way we get to make it the way we want to, but it's not a way to make a living, you know.
Yeah.
So it has its pluses and minuses for sure.
But this, at the same time, it could be because it could be such a success that
Yeah, yeah,
because you had that it's like you had that creative freedom to do something that nobody else was thinking about from a business mindset, if that makes any sense. Of
yeah,
course, that's the misconception because there is a business mindset to running a nonprofit, of
yeah,
course, right? So
yeah. Yeah, we don't go into debt over these things.
yeah,
And I would speak for Adam on this too. We really just want people to see this film. It's so important to us, really, the theme. And now I think in the time we've had this film out, uh, sort of the new language, othering and belonging, is out there in the social context, and where people don't feel included or similar, or to realize we all are the kind of the same here. You
Yeah.
know, it's a little bit different flavor, maybe a little bit different texture, but we all care about home. We all are made of the earth. We all have these touching moments. Um, if we can, we just feel like that's another entry point. Adam and I talk a lot about empathy and how, as creators, we can activate empathy in a public, whereas you can't wake up one day and say, I'm going to walk out the door and today's the day I'm going to learn empathy. Life has to present itself, or in this case, art has to present itself to you to get you to be stirred into an empathetic
Yeah.
um,
It's a great,
response.
that's a great point, you just made. I don't know if you mentioned that before. And
He and I've talked about it. We talk about it a lot, but I don't know that you and I've talked about it. Yeah.
no, I think it's fantastic. What you just said is fantastic. Just it's especially, not to sound like a cliche, but especially in today's time that we're in, what you
Yeah.
just said is more very important. So
Well, and as contemporary artists, that's what it is about. It's being in the times, and
yeah,
I mean, I guess I know there are artists who are in their studios, whatever medium, at their computer making sound or bites or whatever they do in visual art or whatever, and the vision is such that it's in their head, and it's in or somehow somewhere besides bouncing back off of the public or the social context we're in.
yeah,
It is of the times because that artist is living in the times, but there are many of us, Adam and I included, that responding, we're living in this stuff, and we have to make work in response to it.
yeah,
And in our case, where I would say we're both activists, can we make a difference?
yeah, 100%. Well, I think it's like I said, it's just like there's so many moving parts to your film. I didn't even mention the music. The last point, the music. Where did you get the music for it?
I've worked with Christian Meyer, I'm going to say close to 25 years, at least 25 years. We met completely by accident. And so he became the go-to composer on this. And he waited. He was aware of the film. We were sending him things and clips and or the shoot. He wasn't at the shoot. He had been to that area and worked with me in France on another project. And so he was aware of the place. And his wife is French. He also was in Poland with us, but he waited until we had the film mostly done, and we sent him section by section for him to create to. And I think we had the order by then too, so he knew the flow. And the premiere was on a Saturday evening, and we were all in because we did a live performance for the premiere. We took ideas from the film and did a live performance with the first film screening. So Christian and Adam and I were all there with the performers working the whole week, and he worked on the sound till the very end, just fine tuning it and little nuances between Adam and I having opinions, because that was the other thing is we would listen together and then we talk about places for us that we'd like adjusted. And if one of us said, no, I really like it, we'd leave it, so we kind of went back and forth and gave him feedback, and he just worked all the way to the end to get it just right for us, which was such a pleasure.
Amazing. Like look, like it started in 1980, so it's been 45 years. You got this multiple award-winning dance film, museums. You got like I know you're probably just working all the time, but you ever get a chance to look back and go, wow, I did some pretty amazing stuff.
It's funny because we decided for the 45th, like there's been a lot of big anniversaries,
Yeah,
the 20th, the 25th, but for the 45th, I have a really wonderful social media person, and she really wanted to get into, we call them 45 moments for 45 years.
yeah,
And so she went back into the archives, and she's been in between whenever we don't have stuff going on. She's been posting these different posts where she's collected things. And I have to say, I mean, I know I did all the work because she asked me, we have a meeting every 2 weeks. She'll ask me to tell me the story on this or tell me about that, because we'll pick one thing from kind of each year. And but seeing it posted like in the relation, I'm like, wow, I was an activist really a long time ago. Wow, I was really doing this kind of idea a long time, So it's given me more to reflect on, like where I came from and how it's still like I was very informed. I grew up in Houston. The first 6 years of those 45 were in Houston, and Houston is a very strong visual art town. I
Mhm.
mean, very strong museums, there's a lot of collectors there, a lot. And that was my community, was a visual artist. And I never really knew how much they influenced how I make work because that was
Yeah.
my friend group, that was my crowd. And I see it now looking back, both with my work in museums. I'm curating my first exhibition in opens in February of 2026. So I was like, okay. I mean, I'm just like, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that you're really interesting. You mentioned the social media because you got a nice Instagram feed,
Uh-huh.
and there's like a link that says morning classes with
Yeah.
Julio.
Yeah.
I don't know who can do these classes. Like people are like flipping and doing all these. It's like just a little warm up for the start the day.
Yeah.
It's like these
Yeah.
crazy days. It's like, oh my God.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Such talented people. Like the talent base is amazing.
Well, and I thank you for noticing
Yeah.
because every one of these people, that's a big part of what we do is to, yeah, we're proud of Adam and I are proud of what we created here. And I'm proud of, Core's longevity. But there's been so many incredible artists. So we're really wanting to keep shouting out for everybody because people don't realize, particularly in the US, that it's a career. And to do the career, it's particularly in dance, it's hard work because it's
Yeah.
about your body and physicality and waking up every morning ready to go again and do it
Mhm.
again. And
Yeah.
it's a lot. And then it's also for people who are makers like Adam and I, we are blessed that we never run out of ideas. We try to like tone down the ideas because like he keeps going, well, yeah, we can make a piece out of anything. He'll tell me that. And he was like, I don't long for ideas.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Amazing. Well, on that note, congratulations on everything, and maybe we can talk again when you make your next film.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Super. Yeah.
I'm glad. Thanks for the
Anytime.
experience. Thanks, it was great, and I'll be checking it out. I just flagged your Instagram page. I'll be checking it out. I think it's fantastic.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.